So 3 people were murdered at a women's health clinic in Colorado Springs, Colorado. The clinic is part of a nonprofit organization that supplies health care for women. Nonprofit organization supplies health care for women. The murderer was heard to say, "No more baby parts." Finally, a terrorist attack we can blame on a crappy video. Where did the shooter get such ideas from? Could it be from all the GOP presidential frontrunners in the entire mainstream corporate media? Yes, a fraudulent, deceptive video was released by an anti-abortionist extremist portraying Planned Parenthood donating fetal tissue to medical research as selling baby parts. Both Republican Party and the mainstream media has legitimized this lie, inflaming viewers with irresponsible rhetoric and agitating. Here's the head of Planned Parenthood from Colorado, and here's what she thinks about the right-wing rhetoric.
We've experienced so much hateful language, hateful speech. Such a negative environment has been created around the work that Planned Parenthood does. I can't believe that this isn't contributing to some folks mentally unwell or not, thinking that it's okay to target Planned Parenthood or to target abortion providers.
So that's what she said. She's a lot of hateful rhetoric, how could you not think that this led directly to it? Here's what Mike Huckabee had to say.
Regardless of why he did it, what he did is domestic terrorism, and what he did is absolutely abominable, especially to those of us in the pro-life movement, because there's nothing about any of us that would condone or in any way look the other way at something like this.
So I don't know if you caught what he said there. Do you know who's the most offended by this? It's the people who are against abortion. So again, he's the victim. The right-wing and Christians who are anti-abortionists are the victim of this guy. It's not the leftists. It's not the feminists, right? It's not the people at Planned Parenthood. It's guys like him, the pro-life people, the anti-abortion people. They're the real victims. Here's what Carly Fiorina says about if right-wing rhetoric led to this shooting.
So what I would say to anyone who tries to link this terrible tragedy
is right on, because that's exactly what's happening. Right. What would she say?
To anyone who opposes abortion or opposes the sale of body parts is this is typical left-wing tactics. Any protesters should always be peaceful, whether it's Black Lives Matter or pro-life protesters. Protesters should always be peaceful and respectful.
First of all, we're gonna talk about this more in a second, but that is bull. because if what Carly Fiorina said was that they're selling baby parts. I saw them extract the brain out of a baby so they could sell it and make. So
she dared Hillary Clinton to look at that tape.
She dared Hillary Clinton to look at that. And if you really thought that was happening, would you be respectful to the people who are doing it? Why would you be Would you go if you were gonna protest? If you're gonna protest the KKK or Nazis or whatever, would you do it respectfully? That's why you know that's BS. They don't respect Planned Parenthood, healthcare providers. They don't want to. They call them everything they're terrorizing them, right? They're terrorizing them. There's a little bit more. Here's a Washington Post journalist, Kathleen Parker, is that her name? She's on with Chris Matthews. Here we go.
And of course, Carly Fiorina did that sort of exaggerated description during one of the debates.
She can't even call it an exaggerated description. Here's how she said. How did that affect you?
It was just too horrible. I don't even really want to repeat it.
It's too horrible. I don't want to repeat it. It was an exaggeration. Even it wasn't a lie. Even she didn't blatantly lie to people, mislead people, incite people to violence. It was so horrible that you don't even want to repeat it. But it wasn't a lie. It was an exaggeration. Again, that's just crazy to me that people have to do that on news shows. And then Chris Matthews sits there and goes, "You mean she lied?" No, he doesn't. He doesn't say that. Here's a little more.
Look, Chris, I think he obviously made a connection and went there to kill people.
Why?
It's obvious.
So she says he obviously did make. So here's a right-wing columnist for the Washington Post saying, yes, he did make. But then she immediately seems to say the opposite, because he says, well, why did he go there?
Well, I don't know why, and you don't either. And
You just said you knew why. She just said he made a connection and he went there to kill people who were killing babies. And then Chris says, why? Well, you don't know why. I don't know why. You just... So now let's go around the horn and get some. So we got Mike Huckabee's reaction. We got Carly Fiorina's reaction. Here's what Ted Cruz had to say. Now, Ted Cruz, here we go.
I will say it's unfortunate to see so many folks in the press bending over backwards to try to use this horrible crime to advance a political agenda. This man is a despicable murderer, and he should be punished to the full extent of the law. But none of that changes the reality that Planned Parenthood is in the business of buying and selling the body parts of unborn children. None of that changes the reality that Planned Parenthood was caught on video apparently committing a pattern of felonies.
So there you go. Hey, guess what though?
Was he being interviewed when he said this?
He was being interviewed somewhere not in a TV studio, but
No one was there to say actually they don't do that. They don't sell baby parts.
no. He went on to refer. I can't believe I don't have it. Maybe I have it here. Is this it?
So he could have gotten the idea.
I will say it's
So I can't believe I don't have the tape of him. He said that he was a transgender leftist.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Because
So Ted always has all the facts with him when he chimes in.
yes, well, he's based that on the fact that on a driver's license form the shooter filled out incorrectly. Mm-hmm. That's what happens, and it should be understandable. It should be an understandable mistake since Ted Cruz accidentally marked the census that he's a Christian. So we can see how we can make those mistakes. And by the way, Ted Cruz should go a little easy on throwing around that transgender accusation. At his last press conference, he looked like he was wearing more lipstick than Joan Crawford. So here, again, we go back to our right-wing Washington Post reporter, and Chris Matthews presses her.
So he could have gotten the idea as a reasonable viewer.
No. He's not a reasonable person. He's not a reasonable person.
But a reasonable person could have gotten an idea from that video.
Absolutely, but
So she's saying two things at once. Chris Matthews says, well, a reasonable person who hears Carly Fiorina and watches that edited video, reasonable person can make the conclusion they're killing babies and selling baby parts, right? And she said yes. And then
most people don't go out and shoot people because of it.
let's listen to it again.
Could have gotten the idea as a reasonable viewer.
No. He's not a reasonable person. He's not a reasonable person.
But a reasonable person could have gotten an idea from that video.
Absolutely, but most people don't go out and shoot people because of it.
So let's break that down, because you hear that a lot. Sure, most people don't go out and shoot people because of that. Well, why wouldn't you? That's the next logical step. If you really think there's a place where they're killing babies and then selling their body parts for profit, how do you not pick up a gun? How do you not round up people in your neighborhood to go in there and stop this baby killing factory? If you believe that, because that's what those people are saying. That's what they believe. You think, hey, that's that baby killing factory. I'd like to do something, but I got to be respectful. That doesn't make any sense. So what they're saying is they're speaking out of both sides of their mouth. And by the way, he's deranged. He's not a Christian. He didn't do this because of his beliefs. And even though he said no more baby parts, even though it's exactly what the right wing has been stirring up, he's not a Christian terrorist. It's got nothing to do with Christianity. But believe me, if somebody said Allah Akbar when they did anything, that's exactly because of the ISIS theology. That's exactly what it is. That they wouldn't even question it. This guy says it. It's like, no, he looks like us, and I'm not like that, so he must be mental. The difference between a terrorist and a deranged lone wolf is the color of his skin.
Exactly.
That is really it.
And if you take what anti-abortion people, if you take their position to its logical extreme, then all abortionists should go to jail and they should get the death penalty because they are committing murder as far as those people are concerned.
Why? Yeah, and why would you even give lip service to the fact that you're supposed to be respectful to baby murderers? Why would you even say that? Because you don't believe it yourself. Mm-hmm. They don't believe it themselves. They know they're not killing babies. They know they're not selling baby parts for profit. That's why they don't get upset themselves. That's why they don't go shoot them themselves. Believe me, if there was a place where they were killing babies, I'd go shoot them. I'd go, they're not. And they know they're not. That's why they don't do it. But then they prey on the people, the most easily influenced, the person most on the edge, the most easily deranged person who just needs that one little push. As George Carlin say, you know, that guy who's just about to end his life and then as a Christmas gift, somebody gets him mouthwash. You know what I mean? That just needs that, and that's what they're doing. So I just want to make that point. The right wing doesn't really believe what they're saying about Planned Parenthood, because if they did, they'd all be in there shooting the place up.
And you know, the worst thing that could happen to the right wing would be if Roe v. Wade got repealed, because all it's been to them has been a huge fundraising thing. If they did actually end abortion, it would be devastating to the right wing because they wouldn't know how to raise money anymore.
Yeah, what would they do? Yeah, well, they would have to do, we got to keep it illegal. There's a lot of people who want to still kill their babies. Mm-hmm. That's what they would do. And by the way, you'll never hear the term in America radical Christianity. You're never going to hear that term. You'll never hear radical Christian terrorist. You'll never hear it. They just don't, no matter how many people they kill. Mm-hmm. Am I wrong about this, Frank?
No, they are radical. But if it's Christianity, it's not at its base an evil religion the way the Muslim religion is, because a lot of Christians have white skin. So, and
just for the record, during this time when the GOP and the media were capitalizing on the fake scandal of the Planned Parenthood videos. Mm-hmm. There has been arson attacks on Planned Parenthood clinics in Thousand Oaks, California, Pullman, Washington, Aurora, Illinois, New Orleans, Louisiana, and now Colorado Springs.
And then there were 5 attacks along those lines the same week as the Planned Parenthood shooting.
Yes. The news media didn't do their job.
No, well, the news media, by the way, that happened, I think, on a Friday. The Planned Parenthood shooting. Sunday morning, Face the Nation had 2 questions about it and spent most of the show talking about how we need to bomb ISIS.
CNN, during the act of still shooting, we still don't know, they brought on people who were critical of Planned Parenthood and still believed in those videos. They brought them on to talk about it as it was happening.
God.
Right. And they also, right after there was a development where they were arrested the guy or whatever, CNN cut to its documentary, The 60s, which was a rerun, and MSNBC went to lockup reruns.
Lockup prison reruns.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, the fact that it was a white guy just made it completely uninteresting to the media.
Completely uninteresting. If there was a chance that guy was a Muslim or an
It would have been on Fox 24/7.
24/7. Oh, he's one of our... So we don't really care about terrorism in America. We don't really care about gun violence in America. We don't care about innocent people getting killed. When I say we don't care about it, I mean, we don't ever do anything about it. But as soon as there might be a chance that, as soon as some Muslims kill some people in another country across the ocean, we immediately close our borders.
Yeah.
We immediately freak out. Oh my God, we can't let Syrians in. We gotta register the Muslims. Hey, there's another guy killed 12 people in California today. What are you gonna do? What are you going to do? We got, how did you say it?
All of the Republican candidates tried to be the first one to shrug their shoulders.
Yes. So how did you say it about the people who got killed today in San Bernardino? They got what?
Oh, they got second amended to death.
They got second amended to death,
Instead
Frank.
of people saying they're murdered, we should be saying that they've been second amended to death.
Yes.
Every day, thousands or hundreds of people are second amended.
Oh, yeah.
If that language changed, I think people might realize how damaging that fucking amendment is.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
me.
I'd like the Second Amendment his head off.
And the Second Amendment is so important to gun nuts, which is why they allow them to have assault muskets.